Hey, what's up guys? My name is Irina and welcome to my channel where I review everything tech. Ever since the iPhone 6 Plus came out, I've always been a huge fan of the iPhone Plus models. And naturally, when I got the iPhone 10 last year, I was slightly disappointed simply because I wish that the phone came in a bigger size. I was so used to interacting with the wider display of the Plus models that I found simple things like typing, composing pictures, and reading to be less enjoyable on the iPhone 10. This year, Apple has finally given us the iPhone that I wish I had last year. Of course, I'm talking about the iPhone XS Max. But as you probably guessed from the title, this video is not just about the XS Max. Spoiler alert! The new iPhone XS Max is an amazing phone. However, it is definitely not cheap, and I know that many of you might be wondering today whether to upgrade to the new XS Max or pick up a much more affordable iPhone 8 Plus. I'm super demanding when it comes to smartphones, so in this comparison we'll look at the build quality, specs, battery life, cameras, and much more. As always, let's first talk looks and design. It's no surprise that both phones feel premium and the build quality is outstanding. They both got beautiful glass backs, and perhaps the biggest difference in materials comes from the fact that the XS Max frame is built from the stainless steel, while the 8 Plus has a frame made from aluminum. The 8 Plus and the XS Max come in a silver, space gray and gold colors. Space gray colors look pretty similar, but do keep in mind that the gold ones have noticeably different colors in real life. The 8 Plus's gold looks more like a rose gold color, and the XS Max does in fact look like gold. And speaking of the silver color options, I'd say that the back on the XS Max does appear wider than the one on the 8 Plus. And of course, we can't talk about looks and design without comparing the displays. I've always considered the 8 Plus to have one of the best LCD panels on the market. Its 5.5-inch Retina display just looks great, and I've never had a complaint when it comes to colors or brightness. When looking at the XS Max, we find a larger 6.5-inch display with much thinner bezels. While Apple calls the Super Retina display their best OLED display to date, I must confess that, at the very first glance, I wasn't really blown away by it. Of course, when you compare the two screens side by side, the colors on the XS Max do look more vivid. However, I must say that the difference between the two displays wasn't that dramatic to me. At the end of the day, I have to admit that I would always choose the display on the XS Max, simply because of its bigger size rather than its better quality. Having a larger screen to me is like having a larger window to the world. My Instagram, Facebook and Twitter feeds suddenly look more immersive and complete on the XS Max. However, while the display on the XS Max undoubtedly sets a very high benchmark, I think that most people would be more than happy with the size and quality of the screen on the 8 Plus, since it also allows you to have an amazing viewing experience, albeit a slightly less immersive one. Having covered the outside, now let's take a look at some specs. While in the 8 Plus you get the last year's A11 chip, you will get the newest A12 chip if you choose to go for the new XS Max. Also keep in mind that the 8 Plus comes with 3GB of RAM and 3-core GPU, while the XS Max gives you 4GB of RAM with a 4-core GPU. Haven't told you all the boring specs, I think you are more interested in knowing how these phones actually feel when you use them. The 8 Plus has always felt fast, and it feels even faster with the new iOS 12. The XS Max feels very snappy as well, yet I would not necessarily say that it feels much faster than the 8 Plus. Instead, I think it just feels smoother. Everything I do feels battery smooth and fast, and honestly, the phone operations feel nearly perfect. Now let's talk about the cameras. Guys, I did a separate comprehensive camera test of these two phones full of real-world side-by-side pictures and videos, so I definitely urge you to check out the link above to see it. The 8 Plus has a great camera that produces good results in most situations. However, I would say that the XS Max takes better photos in challenging conditions. Overall, the truth is that both of these phones have very capable cameras, and it will be up to your taste as to which images you like better. I think you would agree that a smartphone feels incomplete unless it has a good battery life. I mean, what's the point of a phone you can't fully use simply due to its battery limitations? Back when the iPhone 8 Plus was my daily driver, I've always praised it for having an amazing battery life. In fact, I don't remember a single time when it has failed me, even during super long days. So I was cautiously optimistic about the battery life on the XS Max, and to my great relief, the battery life on the XS Max is good. Simply put, it lasts me a whole day without any problems, and while I cannot say that it's significantly better than the 8 Plus, I would simply call them both equally impressive. Moving on to the speakers. When the 8 Plus came out, we all compared it to the 7 Plus and noted how much better the speakers of the 8 Plus were. In general, the sound quality of the 8 Plus will leave very few people disappointed, and yet the speakers on the XS Max are even better. The XS Max manages to have an even louder and clearer sound output. However, like I said, the sound quality of the 8 Plus speakers is so good that I would not recommend getting the XS Max purely for its speakers. Another major difference between these two phones comes down to how they unlock. If you're someone who is used to unlocking your phone with a good old home button, please don't be nervous or skeptical about the Face ID. It works, it's quite fast, it's accurate even at night, and I doubt you will have any problems getting used to it. You will like the fact that you can unlock your phone even if your fingers are wet. However, you might not be super thrilled that you will actually have to look at the screen and swipe up before your phone actually unlocks. Simply put, if I wanted to check my phone in a dark movie theater, I think I could do it faster by touching home button on the 8 Plus. Maybe it's just me, but I still think that opening up the phone with a fingerprint sensor on the home button feels more instantaneous. Yet the Face ID is so smooth and reliable that I'm still torn between the two. In the end, the Face ID feels futuristic and it's definitely reliable. However, I don't think that you would miss out by much if you go for the phone with a fingerprint sensor. Okay guys, I think at the end of the day the choice is not easy. With the XS Max you will get the latest and greatest that Apple has to offer, but you will have to be ready to pay the premium price to get it. On the other hand, the last year's iPhone 8 Plus offers you like 90% of the thrills for a much more affordable price. Personally, I would get the XS Max over the 8 Plus for its beautiful big display and the new camera, while all the other announced improvements would not have really moved me to upgrade. The main question is which new features, if any, would make you want to spend more. You need to answer it for yourself, but just remember, no matter how you answer it, you will be a winner no matter which phone you ultimately pick. Let me know what you guys think and which phone you think you will end up getting.